Welcome to IT How To. This week I'm going to be showing you how to install and set up LXD on a new installation of Ubuntu 22 desktop. I'm now back on my machine, my Windows 10 machine, with Ubuntu 22 desktop highlighted, which is installed on Oracle VirtualBox. So in yesterday's video I actually installed this version of Ubuntu 22 desktop as a new virtual machine. What I will do is I also, after I recorded the video, I created a snapshot as so. So a snapshot on VirtualBox allows you to basically take a snapshot in time of a virtual machine. Then you can carry on some work, and if something doesn't go to plan, you can always revert back to your snapshot. So I've got this snapshot here, so I'm just going to go ahead and start the virtual machine. So I'm going to right click here and let me see if it allows me to start it. So before I go there, sorry, oops, wrong button. So let me see if it allows me to do that. So I'm just going to double click it to see if it lets me power it on. So that's strange. Okay, so double clicking it helped me to power it on. I wasn't seeing the option to power it on, but never mind. It's the first time I've seen that. So I'm just waiting for Ubuntu 22 desktop to start. While it's starting, I do have a previous video where I do describe the process of how to create a snapshot in Oracle VirtualBox. So I'll put a link to that in the description box below. I will now log back in. And we're now presented with the desktop. So what I will do, I'm going to right click, go to open in terminal, which is basically the terminal or CLI. I'll make that text a bit bigger. So the next command is sudo. So it's an admin command, so I need to type in sudo apt get. So I think it's actually snap install LXD. So sudo snap install LXD. Hit enter, put in my password. I put in the wrong one. Let me try again. Let's try that again. And it's now going to go ahead and use snap to install LXD, because LXD is actually a snap package, not a traditional Debian package, which is usually installed by apt. So once that's downloaded, it will install it, and it's now installed. So the next command is LXD space init. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this will configure LXD, and for most of these I'm just going to select the option for the sake of this video. For the actual size of the actual loop device it will use, I'm actually going to select 50 gigabytes. I actually allocated 100 gigabytes to this virtual machine, so I'll hit 50 and continue, and it's actually in gigabytes. For the rest of it, I will choose the default options. It's now been installed and configured. I will clear the screen. I'm going to type in LXC list to show to see what's currently running on the LXD, whether they're QEMU virtual machines or LXC containers. We are now ready to start. So I'm actually being presented with a really helpful message of an example on how to either launch a QEMU virtual machine or how to launch its equivalent as a container. So I'm going to go ahead and do both. So I'm going to actually launch a QEMU virtual machine running Ubuntu 22 server. I'll give it a name, so in this case it'll be ubuntu-vm, then the actual type, so you put in the --VM flag if you want it to be a virtual machine as opposed to a system container. It's going to download the image. So what it usually does, it will actually download the image and store it in its local cache if you're launching that image for the first time. So while it's going ahead and downloading that image, I'm going to open another tab in the terminal. I'll make the text bigger. Oops, try that again. And I'm going to type in the command which will actually list the images on the remote repositories. So because the text is big, it's not looking too good. So I'm just going to make the text smaller. I'm just going to scroll up if it lets me. And you can see the types of images available on the remote repository. So you've got Fedora, different versions of Fedora Linux, Gentoo, Kali, Mint, Oracle Linux, Ubuntu, Rocky Linux, which I will be using in my home lab. There's a lot of different versions of Ubuntu. So if I go to the bottom, you can also search. You can also put in a search for specific types. So I'm going to type in Arch. So there's even images for Arch Linux, should you wish to install them. So there's a lot of choice out there. I'm going to go back to the original tab. So it has actually created the virtual machine. So I'm going to do LXC list. It's actually started the virtual machine. I'm going to type in LXC console. Now, because this is actually a virtual machine running inside a virtual machine, there could be an issue. So it may work, it may not work. I have had success on this particular hardware before, but to be honest with you, usually the process is to, if you're going to run a virtual machine using LXD, is to probably run it on the host operating system, which is running directly on the hardware. So let me type in LXC list, and the text is quite big. So because this is a nested virtual machine, it will take a little bit much longer to start than it would on a virtual machine running on a host OS that's been installed directly onto hardware. So yeah, this is now working. I will now log into it using. So the first approach I can take, so this is a vanilla image, so the best way to get into this is to type in LXC space exec, the name of the virtual machine, then I'll type in bash. So I'm now inside that virtual machine. I can type in top, and I can do what I want with this. So I might want to actually create an actual image of this, then I can use that base image to spin up other virtual machines from it going forward. So I'm going to exit out of that. Oops, don't know what I did there. So let's go back to the terminal. I'm going to type in exit to get out of that virtual machine. Type in clear. And let's see, I'll now launch the same thing but as a container, and you don't need to put in any flags after the name of the container I'm creating. And I think system containers, especially for a home lab, are very, very good to use. They're very lightweight, and they will work on the virtual machine a lot easier. So as again, we're just waiting for it to download the image. So while it's doing that, I'm just going to configure this desktop as well. So I was thinking of creating a separate video for this, but I'll do it now, to be honest with you. So I'll go into settings. I'm going to change it from light theme to dark theme, which I find is a lot easier on my eyes. For the dock, I'm going to change the icon size to make them smaller. I'm going to put them on the bottom of the screen. I prefer the dock on the bottom of the screen, so it's a lot easier for me. That's about as far as it goes for when I'm configuring my actual Ubuntu desktop. Okay, it's now launched the container, so I'll type in LXC list and we can see both the container and the virtual machine are running. So that's about it from me for today's video. Thank you very much for getting to the end of this video. Please click on like if you like this video. Please feel free to make any suggestions in the comments. I'm also happy to take in ideas for future videos. Also, please feel free to subscribe to my channel should you wish to be notified when I upload any further videos, and do not forget to hit the notification bell. Thank you very much for your time and hope you have a nice day.